नहीं
ओके ठीक है।
हेलो
okay, so I am audible to audience, I think.
Yes sir, now you are
Yes,
audible
sir.
to everyone.
Okay.
Okay.
So good morning, Goyal sir, and all the participants. We are going to start this session with brief introduction of Professor R.K. Goyal sir. So Professor R.K. Goyal received his PhD in Metallurgical and Materials Science from IIT Bombay in 2007. He was awarded Best PhD Thesis Prize in Materials Science for the year 2007 by the Materials Research Society of India. Professor Goyal was awarded twice Alumni Distinguished Faculty Fellow Award by the Alumni Association of College of Engineering, Pune, Maharashtra. Presently, he is a professor and head in the Department of Metallurgical and Materials Engineering, MNIT Jaipur. He has total experience of more than 25 years, I know 3 years in industries, 10 years in research institutes, and 12 years in academic institutes. His current research interest is in nanomaterials, composites, and characterizations. He has published over 70 research papers in national and international ACI journals. He also published 2 books, a book entitled Nanomaterials and Nanocomposites, Synthesis Properties, Characterization Techniques and Applications. Publisher is CRS Press, Taylor and Francis Group. Has been recommended under choice review category. He has guided 3 PhD and 36 MTech students. He is the reviewer of more than 15 ACI journals. He has delivered more than 30 invited talks in the conferences and FDPs, STPs. He has successfully completed several research projects funded by ISRO, UGC, AICTE and industries. From this brief introduction, now I would like to hand over to Professor R.K. Goyal. Sir, you may please.
Thank you, Dr. Brajman. So
Okay,
I
sir.
want to see first chat box. So where is chat box? So
Sir,
that
in down bottom.
At the bottom.
At the bottom, sir, in chat.
Okay, anyway, so good morning to all of you, and I know that all of you have attended 10 previous sessions very nicely, and you were sincere, because I have seen most of the participants have asked the questions. So please maintain the same energetic level, and I also like to have questions from you so that I can understand that you are taking the interest in my talk. So because I have 2 sessions, in first session, I will discuss only the effect of particle size on the properties of you can say electrical properties, thermal properties, mechanical, and all these properties. Okay, so first let me start from the nature. We all know that there are plenty of examples of the nature related to nanomaterials. All the entities existing in the nature are made by the nanotechnology, or you can say from the bottom top technology, because you can synthesize the nanomaterials by 2 approaches. One is bottom to top or top to down. Now you can see on the left side that this butterfly, and you can see the various colors. If you see from the front and from the sides, you will see the different colors. Why do you see the different colors? You know that there is basic physics behind this, and we all have studied in 11th and 12th interference. What is the spacing between the 2 nearest lines? So that will decide the color. Similarly, you can see the lotus flower. It is always known for the beauty. And why do you see this important property in the lotus flower? Again, it is because of the existing of nano-sized organic molecules on the surface of the lotus, which gives hydrophobicity. And at the bottom, you can see bottom left side, there are 2 cups. Okay, you can see these cups are made of the glasses. Composition is same, but when you see in the daylight, you will see the greenish color, but when you illuminate this cup from the inside, means when you see the transmitted light, then you will see the different color. So anyway, why it is because of the presence of nanoparticles of the gold, copper or silver. How much quantity? Hardly it is in ppm level. You can say 50 to 100 ppm level. Okay, because of the presence of these nano-sized particles in the glass matrix, you will see the different colors in the reflection mode and in the transmission mode. It is because of the change of the optical properties by the change of the size of the particles. Now you can see the on the right side, the top spider's net. You can see, if you measure the mechanical properties, you will find that it has good tensile strength as well as percentage elongation. So far, scientists, researchers, professors could not develop the materials which have tensile strength as good as of this net made by the spider. We have developed the we means researchers have developed the materials having the tensile strength close to this, but percentage elongation is less. So we could not beat both the things. Then you can see the pigeons, birds, which have different colors. Again, it is because of the presence of either dyes of the nanometer size or the spacing between the two nearest fibers, you can say, that is of the order of nanometer. You can see the beautiful colors at different locations, different colors. At the bottom right side, you can see this is the peacock. Okay, so you can see how when you travel from center to the outward, how the colors are changing. So these are the few examples nature has given to us, and scientists have duplicated and developed lot of examples. So we all know that nanomaterials means if at least one dimension of the material is of the order of 1 to 100 nanometer, you can call them nanomaterials. Now, what are those? One thing is, just you see at the top, if the materials are in the form of rods or wires or tubes, which have diameter of the order of 1 to 100 nanometer, length may be anything, maybe micrometer, millimeter, centimeter. If the diameter is less than 100 nanometer, you can call it nanofibers, nanotubes. Okay. So in this case, there are two dimensions are negligible because they're less than 100 nanometer, and third is significant. If the two dimensions are significant, for example, thin disc or film, you can say one dimension is negligible, means thickness is negligible. If the thickness is less than 100 nanometer or 1 to 100 nanometer, you can call it thin film. Okay. If all the diameters, all the dimensions, for example, you have the particles, or particles may have shape of spherical or cubical or polygonal. If all dimensions means x, y, z are less than 100 nanometer, or if all the dimensions are lesser than 20 to 30 nanometer, then we can call them quantum dots. This is the terminology of the nanoparticles or nanofilms. Okay, so now I will not take the time on this because in previous talks I have discussed, but you know that 1 millimeter is equal to 1000 micrometer and 1 micrometer is equal to 1000 nanometer. Those who are doing research on nanotechnology, they must know this very, very important scale. So 1 micrometer is equal to 1000 nanometer. Now white blood cells, we know that the size of the white blood cells is few micrometer. The micrometer scale we can't see by our naked eyes. Less than 100 micrometer things cannot be seen by naked eyes. So my purpose of showing this is that we need to understand what are the red blood cells. So if you want to see the red blood cells, you need to use some microscope. Under the microscope you can see. And if you compare the size of red blood cells with the human hair, you can see the size of the human hair is around 50 to 100 micrometer. So red blood cells, the size means diameter of the human hair. So red blood cells are lesser than the human hair. Okay, now next is, now most important thing in the previous lectures, you have come across the use of the nanomaterials for the biomedicines. Now, just you see there is bacteria of this. You can see the 1/4 size of the bacteria is shown here at the top. You can see. Okay. Now, if you want to kill that bacteria, if you want to damage the bacteria, what you need to do? You need to inject the medicines. Now, what is the size of the medicine? That will decide how much quantity do you need. Okay. So, if the size is suppose 100 nanometer or a few micrometer, or size of the medicine is also of micrometer. So, what will happen? You put the medicine over the surface of the bacteria or virus. What will happen? So, only the surface of the your medicine which is in contact with the bacteria, that will react first. Remaining part of the medicine will remain inactive. Okay. But instead of the micrometer size, if you have the medicine which is like this, on the right side you can see, if the size of the medicine is very small, so what will happen? A large surface part of your medicine will be in contact with the bacteria or virus. So means what I want to say, if the size of the medicine is very small, then what will happen? Your most of the fraction of the medicine will be effective. So now this is very important to understand. So why nanomedicines are more effective than the conventional? Okay, so on the left side you can see number of entities made or synthesized by the natures are given, and one to one you can compare. On the left side, ant, fly ash, dust mite, so many things. On the right side, the things which are made by the man-made or scientists, you can see one by one. Okay, the size may vary from few millimeter to less than few nanometer. You can see the smallest, the size of the artificial thing is carbon nanotube or buckyball. You can see at the bottom. Now, just you see on the right at the bottom, this circuit is shown, nanotube electrodes. You can see golden color. So why it is important? Just you see, if the diameter of this gold is micrometer, instead of micrometer, if we are able to make the nanometer wire, then what will happen? In the same quantity, we can cover huge area of the devices. That we will see in the next slide. Why the nano size is important. Okay, so now this is the example of well-known carbon metals. The graphite is well known. You know that for thousands of years we all have been used the graphite. From the graphite, you can synthesize the graphene as a single monatomic graphene. Again, if you do some modification in the process, you can convert the graphene into the carbon nanotube. You can see from the graphene layer or graphite, you can convert the single wall carbon nanotube. You can make the multi-wall carbon nanotube. So by rolling the graphene sheet, you can convert into single wall. You can convert into double wall. If there are two concentric cylindrical tubes, you can make it double wall carbon nanotube. If there are more than two concentric tubes of the graphene, you can call it multi-wall carbon nanotubes. Okay. Now, instead of the tubes, if we are able to synthesize or convert the carbon into the, you can say, spherical ball, like you can say fullerene or buckyballs, which has about 60 carbon atoms, then you can call it C60. That is buckyball, C60 fullerenes. And if the total number of carbon atoms are 70, you can call it 70. So now question is, composition is same. In all, carbon is there, but how they are rolled, how they have, what morphology they have. So based on the morphology, they will be having different properties. Some of them are semi-conducting, some of them are electrically conducting, some of them are, you can say, insulating. Okay, based on that. Now you see on the left side that I have already told you, these are the Lycurgus cup made around 2000 years ago, made of the glass matrix. Only the difference of these glasses with the what glasses we have in the windows is that these glasses consist of ppm level copper, gold, silver nanoparticles. size is below 50 nanometer. Okay, because of that, you can see color is different in the reflection mode and transmission mode. Now, lotus I already discussed. Now, important thing is that on the right top column, just you see how the melting point is reduced when you reduce the size of your particles. You can take any metallic particle. So when you reduce the size from, you can say, micrometer to less than 50 nanometer, you will see that the melting point is significantly reduced. Now the question is that when the size is reduced from micrometer to 20, you can say 20 nanometer, or it is 200 angstrom, means 20 nanometer. Up to 20 nanometer or 30 nanometer, there is not any significant drop in the melting point. But below 20 nanometer, you can see there is significant drop in the melting point. You can see. Or when the size of any metallic particle is about 2 to 3 nanometer, you can see that their melting point is close to room temperature. This is very, very important statement, what I am saying. When the size of metallic particle is about 2 nanometer, again, it depends on the atomic diameter of the atom of that particular element. So when the size is 2 to 3 nanometer, then melting point of that metal may be close to room temperature. In brief, what I want to say, when the size of the metals decrease, particularly below 50 nanometer, you will see significant drop in the melting point. Now the question is why there is drop in the melting point. That after doing some calculation, I will explain about this. Now middle row, you can see left side GECO is there, so it can climb up and down, it can come down, so you can without any accident. But we can't do that. Why? Because its fit consists of nanometer spatulas, nanometer thick spatulas. Because of that, what will happen? Total van der Waals force between the surface of the wall and GECO fit dominate the gravitational force. So because it's the SEM has proved that GECO fit consists of billions of spatulas, or you can say fibers in layman language. So the total cumulative surface area is too high. That leads to significantly higher van der Waals force. Now middle, you can see these are the colorful glasses. Again, these glasses are very old glasses. You can see in the churches. Why it is so? Again, these glasses consist of nanometer size, gold, copper, silver nanoparticles. Again, depending on the size, morphology, you can see the different colors. These glasses are not painted. This is very important. On the right side, you see how the hardness or yield of the materials increases when you reduce the grain size. You can see when the grain size is reduced from micrometer, 100 of micrometer to less than 1 micrometer, okay, or close to 30 to 40 nanometer. You can see the hardness is highest when the grain size is about 20 to 30 nanometer. Below that, again, hardness decreases, but the resultant hardness, you can see, is always higher than the hardness of the microcrystalline material. Okay, this is very important. Now you see on the bottom, the hand is there and cream is applied having the different size of the ingredient particles. Okay, cosmetic cream consists of titanium, TiO2 or zinc oxide. If the size is more than half of the wavelength of the light, your cream will be whitish. If the size of that ingredient particle, means titanium, is less than half of the wavelength, you will see the transparent. Okay, so anyway, okay, we all know that this peacock, how beautiful is peacock and different colors. Why it is so? Again, if you see the nanoscopic arrangement of the features, burbulae, you can see. So you can see this how beautiful they are arranged. And what is the gap? What is the, yes, Bhagwati has raised the hand. Yes, Bhagwati, Mr. Bhagwati. Chat box, okay. Yes, Bhagwati, hello. Hello.
Sir.
Hello.
Hello.
Dr.
Yes, sir. Is you audible?
Brajman.
Yes, sir.
You are audible. Mr. Bhagwati has raised the hand. I have seen on the screen. So he has some doubt or what?
No, sir, we can carry the question and query section in the end of this session.
Okay. So anyway, so now if you see the nanoscopic level means by SEM, you will find that features. Okay, and now again in simple layman, you can say the spacing between the fibers. I will call the fibers so that it is not difficult to understand. Either the spacing is of nanometer range or the thickness of this burbulage or fibers is nanometer. So you can see that this cube, okay, spacing or diameter or spacing between the two rods. So all these things decide the color. Okay, so now photonic, after studying this, then photonic crystals came into the picture, and lot of researchers are working. Now, not only this, now nanomaterials have a lot of applications. So first is in sensors. Why in sensors? Because nanomaterials are having higher surface to volume ratio. Because of that, their sensitivity is significantly increased. Then optical display, as I told you, when the size is reduced, there because of the quantization and because of the, of course, the change in the total absorption, transmission, then you will see the different optical properties. Water repellent, you can change the contact angle by tuning the properties of the nanomaterials. Anti-static, you can make the cloth or textile anti-static, or you can add the nanomaterials into the polymer matrix. You can make it, you can make the materials or composites for different applications. Then anti-wrinkles, fabrics, you can make the anti-wrinkles. If you remember the old days, in those days we were using the nylon or rayon cloths. Those cloths were not comfortable, but nowadays, even if we can use the nylon or rayon cloths, but by treating the nanoparticles, by applying the nanoparticles in a small quantity, we can make these textiles comfortable to wear. Why comfortable? Because after applying the nanomaterials, we can make the hydrophilic. That is important. So sweating will be absorbed. Then because of the reduction in the grain size or particles of the nanomaterials, their strength is enhanced. Then of course, UV blocking. When you reduce the size from the same amount, number of particles will be increased, surface area will be increased, so you can absorb the more UV light. Okay, then antibacterial, not all, some nanomaterials like copper, gold, silver, they have the antibacterial properties, and titanium also. So when you add these materials in nanometer size,
Hello, am I audible to all of the participants? Not audible, sir. So it's a internet problem. Okay.
Please wait for 2 or 3 minutes. We will resolve the issue. There is a connection issue from the speaker's side, so please wait for 2 or 3 minutes.
Internet
Yes, sorry for the interruption. There is little connection issue. Also, there is little connection issue that is going on at the speaker's end. So that will be resolved in max 2 or 3 minutes. So please bear with us. There is little connection issue. So that will be resolved in max 2 or 3 minutes.
अभी आ रहा है क्या? वो दिख रहा है।
Yeah, thank you for bearing with us. We are going to start the session in max 2 minutes.
Hello. Sorry, dear friends, there was power failure in my office. So, not power failure, internet failure. Now I'm using laptop of my colleague. Anyway, so okay, so I was discussing the nanoparticles also have antibacterial properties. So for example, copper, silver, gold. And silver has been used for the last more than 100 years. We know that in the bachpan when the new baby born, then we give the water to them. Okay. So anyway, next is Now the question is why nanoparticles are so effective, not their counterpart bulk materials are not effective. So now just you see, this is very simple calculation. Suppose you imagine that you have particles of 1 centimeter. It is also too small. Just you can say if you put 10 to 20 crystals of the sugar particle, that will be equivalent to 1 centimeter. Okay. If you break this particle into smaller size and imagine that all smaller size particles are of the same size, and imagine that the size of the smallest particle is 1 nanometer. So we are converting 1 centimeter of crystal into the smallest crystals. The size of each smallest crystal is 1 nanometer. Just to imagine how much will be the surface area in case of smallest particle size. Now, if you use this calculation, of course, mass balance equation just you use, and you will find that 1 centimeter on conversion of 1 centimeter into 1 nanometer cube, you will get 10 raised to 21 particles. Now, this is the numbers, but what is the cumulative surface area? So, in the left side, 1 centimeter particle, the total cumulative surface area is 6 square centimeter. But what is the cumulative surface area on the right side? You will get 6,000 square meter. Can you imagine a small particle on converting this particle into the nanometer size particles? How much surface area you can cover if you spread the layer having mono thick particle layer? Okay, so just you can cover 60 by 100 meter. From this calculation, you can just imagine if you convert the conventional medicines into the nanomedicines. Okay, whatever the cream is there, tablet is there. So the size of individual particle, if the size of individual particle is nano, not the micrometer, so you can imagine how much surface area will be there. So that is the reason nano materials are having significantly different properties than the conventional. Okay, so now another calculation, just you imagine you have the one particle of 1 micrometer. This is the particle which you can't see by naked eyes. Okay, imagine 1 micrometer. So now we are converting into 10 nanometer or 1 nanometer. Now imagine the diameter of the atom is 1 angstrom. This is very important. Just you have patience to understand, and most of you may be knowing, but those who are in those who are doing PhD and entering into the field of research, just you need to understand. So now, what is the coordination number of the surface atom? What is the coordination number of the atoms which are inside the core? You can see. We all know that the core atoms have highest coordination number of 12, but the highest coordination number of the surface atom is only 9. Now, on the surface, then again the coordination number of the edge atoms, then coordination number of the corner atom. So there are 8 corners. You know how many edges? 12 edges are there. So the coordination number of the surface atom, coordination number of the edge atoms, coordination number of the corner atom, all are different. So when you convert the largest particle into the smallest particle, what will happen? First thing is that number of surface atoms is increased. Just you see the calculation. So I have done that calculation and you can also do. So what will you get? If you convert the larger size particles into smaller than smallest, what will happen? In case of 1 micrometer size particle, you have only 0.06 fraction of the atoms on the surface, means negligible. If the particles are of millimeter size, then much lower than this. So compared to 100%, you have very less. Okay. Now, in case of 10 nanometer size, you have 6% fraction, 6% fraction, 6% means surface atoms on the surface and remaining 94 in the core. If the size is 1 nanometer, you will get 60%. Now you can understand when you reduce the size from larger to smallest, what happens? Number of surface atoms or percentage of surface atoms is increased on the surface. Now, in case of sensors, what happens? Only the surface will react first from the outer species. That is the reason nanosensors are more efficient. And nanoparticles are more hungry to react with the outer species. Therefore, they have the tendency for the aggregates, or they react very fast. Okay. Now, Nanomaterials are also used. See, remember, this is the curve on the left side is for the gold. So when you reduce the gold particle size from bulk to 100 nanometer, then below 5 nanometer, what happens? Gold is well known for the inert nature, but when the size is below 5 nanometer, gold is not remain inert, and this property is exploited for the automotive industry. So when the gold of few nanometer, means particularly below 5 nanometer, is used as a catalyst in case of catalytic converter, or palladium, similarly palladium, platinum. So what will happen? Unburned or partially burned hydrocarbon gases, particularly CO, that is dangerous to the health. So CO will be converted into CO2. CO2 is not dangerous to us. So now gold nanoparticles are also used in catalytic converters. So means you just embed the gold nanoparticles on the catalytic converter surface. So unburnt CO gas will be converted into CO2. So that is shown in here. Now the question is why only for the less than 5 nanometer? Just you can see on the right side, coordinate number is given. So as the coordinate number is decreased from 10 to 9, 8, 7, what will happen? Just you see. Okay, so now in the previous slide, you have seen that when you reduce the particle size, what happens? Surface atoms are increased. And you know that highest coordinate number for the surface atom is 9. Highest, that may be 8 or 7, but highest is 9 compared to the bulk atoms. So bulk atoms have 12. So conventional materials or bulk materials, most of the atoms are in the core. So they have coordinate number of 12. But in case of nano size, you can see more maximum number of atoms are having coordinate number of 9 or less. So what will happen? Binding energy will be less. You can see as the coordinate number decrease, so binding energy is reduced. That is the reason nanoparticles are more reactive, and your CO will be converted into CO2. That is there. So this is sensor again because of the higher surface area. Nano sensors are more effective. You can see that this reddish line around 6 unit, and bottom blue line, that solid blue line, that indicates sensitivity of the conventional sensor. So compared to conventional sensor, after constant time, you can see how the nano sensors are better than the nanosensors are better than the conventional. So sensitivity is more than 3 times better. Again, it is because of the higher surface area to volume ratio. Because more number of atoms are on the surface, so each and every atom can play the role of reacting with the outer species. So there will be change in the resistance. That signal will be okay. Next, this I already discussed. Now, just to remember, in 17 up to 1700 or 1800 years, so in those days, Damascus sword, talwar, was made by using the Indian ore. And in those sword, what happens? It was well investigated that carbon nanotubes are present. Carbon nanotubes or carbide nanotubes are present. That you can see laminar-like structure. Okay, so that is the reason in those days swords can cut the helmet into 2 or more than that. Not only this, around 50 years ago or before that, age hardening technology was existing. And in metallurgy, it is well-known examples still we are using, and it is why there is no change in the composition. Please remember, composition remains same, but by creating the nano precipitates into the matrix, you can enhance the hardness about 50%, 60% or more than that by increasing the nano size precipitates. So you can see when we increase the aging time, your hardness is increasing from 85 units to more than 135 units. Okay, so why it is happened? You can see on the right bottom, this transmission electron image, TEM images. So some platelet-like structures are, these are the precipitates, or you can say flaky type, okay, needle-like you can say. So diameter is maybe 5 10 nanometer, length is around 40 15 nanometer. So spacing between the individual needles is also very important, and thickness is also important. So as we have seen the previous slide, if you are able to reduce the thickness, so instead of one, you can create many smaller size needles. So spacing between those will be decreased. So mobility of the dislocation will be difficult. That is the reason hardness is increased. Next is optical properties. So in case of some copper or silver gold, what happens when you reduce the size again below 50 nanometer? What happens? You can see blue shift or red shift. So when you decrease the size, their color, you will get the color of the solution. Means after reducing the size, or you synthesize the gold or copper particles of different sizes, then disperse into the solvent. What will you see? Particles having the different size suspended in the same solvent will give you the different colors. Or for a given size particles, if you have the rod of different morphology, again that will you will see different colors. So that is given. Again, it is because of the surface plasmon effect of the metallic particles. And similarly, semiconducting particles show the optical behavior. In case of semiconducting particles, if we are able to synthesize particles lesser than 2 or 3 nanometer, your semiconducting particles may become insulators. Why? Because their energy band gap is broadened. So that is the reason they become insulator. Is this I already discussed? So when the cosmetic cream, in cosmetic cream, what is the main functional material? That is titanium or zinc oxide, because they absorb the ultraviolet light, and therefore our skin is protected from the sunlight. But when the size of these ingredient, titanium or zinc oxide, is more than half of the wavelength of the visible light, so light is scattered. So that because of the scattering, you will see the whitish color. But when the size of this ingredient material is below half of the wavelength of the light, you will see the transparent because scattering is minimized. Okay. So now lotus you can see. Okay, lotus flower you can see why droplets are there. Okay, so what now you can see this is hydrophobic, it is not hydrophilic. So droplets is lying like this. So now from this we have learned. Now based on this, lotus is known for its beauty. Okay, so now scientists have developed both the hydrophilic as well as hydrophobic coatings. So now just you see, because of the limited time, I have to go fast. So you can see here what happens if you add the titanium on the building wall. Titanium, again the size should be smaller, nanometer size. Otherwise, it will not be effective. So what will happen in presence of sunlight? The titanium will react with the outer space, with the, you can say whatever the dust particles are there, oily surface is there, that will be degraded in the presence of sunlight. It is because of the photocatalytic action of the titanium. And whether the now coating is hydrophilic or hydrophobic, in both it can work. Now, if you add the titanium into the glass, which are used in the cars or automotive, so you can make the glass. You need not to use the windshield, or sorry, you need not to use the windshields. Okay, so you can see that this surface. Why? Because what titanium particles make the surface hydrophobic. Okay, so you can see in left side on the right side figure, just you see half portion is shown which consists of titanium, but left half is shown which do not consist of titanium. So water droplets are there where the titanium particles are not there, but wherever the titanium particles are there, you cannot see the water droplets. It is because of the presence of titanium particles. Now, similarly, you can make the fabrics hydrophobic. You can pour anything, so nothing will happen. Now, most important is nano socks. Nano socks means your size is not nano size of the socks. Only the thing is nanometer size silver particles are added. How much? Less than 0.14%. So those who have the you can say nature of having more sweating. So obviously, if you do not remove the shoes, then sweating, because of that sweating you will have bad smell. So those persons or women should use the nano socks. So what happen, whatever the bacteria are there, those bacteria will be killed and bad smell will not come. Particularly to the, it is the advice to the software engineers. Okay, so anyway, so this nano silver has been used for the last 100 years or 50 years, I can say, but nowadays it is used in the, you can say, nowadays bandage. So during removing of the bandage, there will be very less pain compared to the conventional bandage. Silver has antibacterial properties, that is the reason. Okay. So MRI, yesterday you have seen many talks were happen and 2-3 speakers discuss about the enhancement in MRI contrast. So you can see here how the contrasts are improved. Okay. So this I will skip. This I have to. Anyway, from the GECO fit, so we means researchers have developed the nanobrushes, carbon nanobrushes. This is a metallurgist. Mr. Ravikar is the metallurgist. He is in Intel. So his group has developed the nanobrush made of the carbon nanotubes. What is the advantage of this nanobrush? See, one important thing is that adhesion strength of this brush is much higher. So if you have the nanomotors, how will you clean the nanomotors? For such more nanomotors, you need to have the nanobrushes also. So you can use this. So now why the nano creams are more transparent? So now you can see this figure on the left side, the particles of the functional materials, mean titanium or zinc oxide, is more than half of the wavelength. So most of the light which are falling on the cream will be scattered. So we see the scattered light, which will look like whitish. But when you reduce the size, particularly below half of the wavelength, what will happen on the right side? Just you see, the light will be transmitted. Of course, little part will be reflected back, but compared to the previous one, so scattering will be less. So you will not see whitish color. You will, the cream will look like transparent. That is the reason. Okay, so this you can see on the top, and this is the UV visible curve. Now, again, nano or bulk. Just you see, this is the hydrogen absorption properties. The bottom one, you can see that there are nano and microcrystalline material, same composition, but nano has more hydrogen absorption tendency. Micro has less. Bottom curve. Why it is so? Again, it is because of the higher surface area to volume ratio. So now another mechanism, you can see the top diagram. Left side is bulk, larger size. Only the outer surface allow the hydrogen molecules inside the materials. Of course, hydrogen atoms or molecules will get restrictions, but when the size compared to this bulk is smaller, so all the outer surface of the smaller size particles will have the excess. So more amount of the hydrogen will be absorbed. That is the important thing. Not only this, more amount of the hydrogen will be absorbed. Second thing, you want to dissolve the hydrogen because ultimately you want to use the hydrogen for converting it into energy. So desorption will become easier in case of nanomaterials. Okay, same thing is shown here. Yesterday I have seen one participant was asking about the ball milling. Okay, so you can see as you increase the ball milling time 1 to 2 hours, 5 hours, 10 hours. So your nanometer size particle will be reduced. But you cannot use the longer period because what happens, percentage of impurities will be increased. But at the same time, 1 or 2 hours is also not sufficient. So you have to optimize the number of milling hours. That will be possible by doing the study. So anyway, so less number of hours is not sufficient. Maybe 5 or 10 or 15 hours is sufficient. So after getting the nanometer size particles, you can use it for the hydrogen absorption, and the size is smaller. Of course, their surface area is more, so more hydrogen will be absorbed. Okay, so no, I will not discuss this already in brief. I have discussed. So this is the TEM image of the magnetic film, which consists of magnetic particles. You can see the particles. This is not the new. Please remember, paper was published in 1996. So you can imagine before that also these magnetic tapes were being used. So what is the size? Size is lesser than 100 nanometer. Width is lesser than 50 nanometer. So these are the magnetic particles. So now the most important thing is challenges. So you can see there are two bottles, left or right. Now our carbon nanotubes is suspended in both. The difference is that on the right side we have added surfactant. On the left side only carbon nanotubes are suspended in the solvent. Now the question is, after a few minutes you will see that the left bottle, which do not consist of the surfactant, the nanometer particles or carbon tubes are settled down. This is the major challenge with the nanomaterials. If you have the nanometals, leave it in the atmosphere for 5, 10, 20 minutes, immediately it will be oxidized. So you need to protect them. Okay, so even if you do not, even if you are protected, but they will make the aggregates. Once they make the aggregates, they will settle down the solvent. So how will you make the stable suspension solution? So the best way is you add the either silane or you add other surfactants. So the right side surfactant is added, but how much quantity? In case of nanofluid, ferrofluid, around 5 to 10%, or not 10, around up to 5% nanoparticles are suspended in the solvent. But amount of surfactant is more than the nanoparticles to make the stable suspension solution. So now you can see that you can have the stable suspension solution for longer duration in days, not only in hours. That is the thing, important thing. Now I am coming to the characterization because this is very important. So you have the nanoparticles. Of course, you can synthesize nanoparticles by so many techniques are there. So how will you characterize? You have SEM, you have TM. So top two images are SEM, scanning electron microscope. Bottom one is transmission electron microscope. So you can see in the top, all the morphology looks spherical, perfectly spherical. You can see on left or right. The bottom is spherical, but bottom one is, you can see the black color, or top whitish color. See, the mechanism may be known to you, so I will not discuss, but the bottom one, just you see, all the particles are separated. Now, why it is looking like blackish color? Because when you see under the transmission microscope, so wherever the particles are there, below that general images are obtained. So less amount of the electron is obtained. So you will get less intensity of electron, and therefore particles are blackish. Okay. Now, whether the particles are crystalline or amorphous, you can take the electron diffraction pattern. So, right side selected is the electron diffraction pattern is given. You can see the dot already. Now, what is the range? Now, not only the size distribution also important. So, if you have the software, you can find out the size distribution. So, at the bottom, you can see the histogram, fraction versus diameter. So size is varying from 65 to 80 nanometer. And average size, you can see 75. Then there is variation of 2 to 5 depending on how many locations you are measuring. So you can measure the size, morphology also. But the question is, which size is better, measured by SEM, TM, or XRD? So that I will not discuss here. Anyway, so some difference will be there. Now, previous one is only the one kind of the gold particles. But suppose you are making your coating, now you know that gold is, in the size is few nanometer, gold is not stable. Similarly, ferromagnetic particles or magnetic particles, they are not stable. How will you make them stable, or how will you make them or convert them into stable ferrofluid or nanofluid? So you need to coat the nanomaterial particle. So magnetic particle, cobalt ferrite, is coated with the iron oxide. Now the question is, how will you measure? Left side, just you will see only the particles. So new or learner researchers cannot say the particles are coated. So the left side is taken by the transmission electron image, by using the transmission electron microscope. But to confirm whether the nanoparticles are coated or not, we need to use the high resolution transmission electron microscope. So left side is shown. Just you see there are two regions. One is core, that is very dark, and nearby at the surface is light gray. So why so much difference? Obviously, the inside core is having the elements which have more higher atomic number. So when the electron beam passes, so less amount of the electrons passes through that core. So that will look like dark compared to the region. You can see the center one is cobalt iron oxide, outer is iron oxide. Clear? So now the same thing you can measure by the XRD. Now the question is which one is better? Again, you need to use both the techniques, XRD and this. So here you cannot find out without diffraction pattern. You cannot say whether the particles are amorphous or crystalline. So, but you can find out what is the thickness of the coating, or what is the thickness of the core. You can say you can measure the scale bar is there. Dr. Kunal, 5-10 minutes. Okay, so one more important thing I want to share with the researchers, because many researchers have asked some questions in the previous talks. The difference between the particle and crystallite. See, the particle may be made of the several crystallites, or when you say crystallite, generally crystallites are the grains, single grains you can say. Now you see on the right side, extreme right, you can see one particle. Total there are 4. Now crystallite, I will say crystallite 1. But if you see the same image of the same particle at a lower magnification, what will you see? You will see, or it will look like single particle. So this is the whole is particle, but crystallite is individual. So I will say that there are 4 crystallite in this particle. Okay, so XRD gives the size of crystallite. Without knowing, you take the powder, if the particles are like this, so XRD will tell you the size of the individual crystallites, not the size of whole particle. Please remember, if you measure the size of same powder by transmission electron microscope at a lower magnification, what will you do? You will be measuring only the outer size. Means in this case, I can say 500 nanometer. In that case, you may be making some mistake. So please remember. So if you measure the size by TM, it is better to measure the size at lower as well as higher magnification. So clear at the joint, that is the grain boundary you can say. Okay. So individual particle. Now the XRD, how the XRD is used? So XRD is not giving the size of the crystallite. It is the Scherer equation. Okay, so from the peak broadening we measure the size of the peak broadening. This is the XRD pattern. Y-axis is intensity, x is 2 theta. So you will get number of diffraction peaks 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now here you can see the width of the individual peak is negligible. So you can say sharp peaks are there. But in case of nano, the width at the bottom will be increased. You can say like this, the left side. So peak broadening, that will happen. Please remember, peak broadening do not happen. Peak broadening doesn't happen from the only particle size. It happens because of there are 3 reasons. One is if the particle size is smaller, peak broadening will happen. If the stresses are there, if you are synthesized nanomaterial powder by ball milling, so lot of stresses are there. If you are synthesized by chemical route, stresses are negligible. So even if you have measured, even if you have synthesized the particles of the same size by different route, please remember, same size by different routes. If you measure the size by XRD, you will get different sizes. Why? In case of synthesis by ball milling, stresses is there. So peak broadening will be more because of the effect of stresses. But in case of powder synthesis by chemical route, stresses are almost negligible. So peak broadening will be less. Third reason is instrumental error, because whatever the wavelength we are using, that wavelength is not perfectly monochromatic. So that has K alpha, K beta. Okay, so that effect will be there. Or where are you putting the sample in the XRD? The distance between the aperture and sample is also matters. Anyway, that is known as instrumental error. So if you want to find out the perfect size or more accurate, it is better to do some correction. Okay, but most of the researchers do not use. So correction is required when the size of the nanoparticle is below, you can say, 50 nanometer. Why? Because the effect of the stresses, effect of the instrumental error will be significant. Therefore, this formula, Scherrer equation, is applicable only when the size is lesser than 100 or 200 nanometer. But when the size, if you are expecting less than 50 nanometer, better to correct the formula. For that, some corrections is given in many textbooks. Okay, so stresses, how the stresses induce the peak broadening, that I have explained on the right side. Just you imagine there are no stresses, so you will get diffraction peak like this top. Okay, so center line is there on the both side. But now you apply the compressive stresses. What will happen? D-spacing between the planes will be reduced. Now what will happen? You know, Bragg's law 2d sin theta is equal to lambda. Lambda is constant. Now variable is theta and D-spacing. Now because of the compressive stresses, D-spacing is reduced. So what will happen? Theta will be shifted towards higher side. If you apply the tensile stresses or induce tensile stresses induced, what will happen? D-spacing will be increased, so this peak will be shifted towards lower, because 2d sin theta is equal to lambda. Lambda is constant, so only where one is changed, another automatically will be changed. So if both stresses are there, so what, like cantilever beam, so what will happen? You will get peaks because of the compressive stresses on the lower side, because D-spacing is reduced, so theta higher side. If the tensile stress is there, D-spacing is increased, so theta will be reduced on the left side. So compressive stresses, tensile stresses, both will shift your peaks on the opposite side, and the crystals which are not under stresses, that will give their peaks on the original position. So what will happen? XRD will give you the resultant of these three things. So what happens? You got the peak broadening. So what I want to say, the peak broadening happens because of three things: particle size or crystallite size. Second is stresses. Third is instrumental error. Okay, for the rough estimate, it's okay. You need not to do. But if you want the precise results, it is better to do correction in the formula. Okay. So this core cell structure you can find out from the TM. Okay, XRD cannot give this clearly. What is the thickness of the coating? May give, but you have to be careful. Okay, so at lower magnification, it is difficult to find where is the core, where is the shell. Okay, so top inside is shown the higher. That is the image taken by high resolution transmission electron microscope. You can see clearly darker and brighter region. Okay, so you have to make the judgment where is the coating. You can measure thickness. In this case, around 20 nanometer. Okay, on both sides you can see the diameter will increase by 40. This is very important. It is not like you just improve the suspension is stable. So if the particle size is 20 nanometer and you are applying the coating of 10 nanometer thick, so what will happen? Particle size will become 40 nanometer. Okay, so all these parameters will affect the results. Okay, properties. Anyway, in case of MRI, you can see if the magnetic particles are injected into the body wherever the tumor cells are there. Without injection or after injection, you can see pre-treatment. Just you see the mouse is 1 and 2, or left side, just you see the second mouse after treatment. So left side you see only single color is there, but on the left side, central one is black, then near outer is white. So it gives better contrast. Okay, so this is because of nano, I think. Anyway, so similarly, you can use the nanomaterials for the antibacterial property, and you know, in many cases, bacteria are deposited, they make the biofilm, or not only that, medicines also make the biofilm inside the body. That is the reason some bacteria becomes resistant to the further medicines. So nanoparticles can help in breaking the breaking the biofilms. Okay, so I will not discuss in detail. Now, so far we have discussed about the nanoparticles. Now, how will you use the nanostructured materials for the human body? Just you see, the top one is conventional implant made of the it is titanium. Okay, so size is around 3.5 millimeter, but because of the nanostructured, what happen? Nanostructured materials have higher strength and hardness that we have discussed. So we can get better strength by reducing the diameter also. So if you use the implant having the lower diameter, means 3.5 to 2.4 nanometer, or sorry, micrometer, so the pain will be less to the patient. You can see how it is implanted. So just imagine, instead of this 2.4, it is 3.5 millimeter conventionally. So how painful it is. So nowadays, because of the nanostructured titanium implants, so the pain to the patient is reduced. So that is the beauty of this. This is I already discussed. So anyways, now see, so far I have discussed only some properties of the nanomaterials, and I think you have understood. Now in the second session, I will discuss the main composites of nanocomposites. So why, how you can exploit, because nanomaterials, you know that they have important properties. They have higher surface area to volume ratio, but because of that, they have the tendency to aggregates or agglomerates. Agglomerates are worse than the micrometer size particles because they deteriorate the mechanical properties of the materials. So maximum applications of the nanomaterials is in composites, means nanocomposites. Okay, so I will try to cover 4 or 5 applications of the nanomaterials. And now the session is open. You can ask if you have. I think you may be having a lot of questions. So I am trying to open the chat box. I also request to Dr. Brajmohan to read the chat box. Where is the chat box? What type of questions audience have asked? आप नहीं कर रहे काम? अच्छा ठीक है. Chat box. आवाज जा रही है ना? स्टार्टिंग से मैं देख लेता हूँ. आप chat box question answer. चैट बॉक्स ओपन रहता है ना? दिखा नहीं रहा. ये ऊपर है. हाँ, स्टार्टिंग से. स्टॉप शेयरिंग अभी आ गए. Okay. So if I so first question in chat box, how we can measure the dimensionality of nanomaterials? For example, CNT is one-dimensional, graphene is two-dimensional, etc. And it is very interesting question. See, now in CNT there are 2 types of the carbon nanotubes. or not two, mean broadly two single wall carbon nanotubes and multi-walled carbon nanotubes. Roughly, first you can observe the sizes by scanning electron microscope, but because single wall carbon tube is also in the form of ropes, means each rope consists of, you can say, hundreds of single wall carbon tubes. It is very difficult to measure the size, so it is better to use the transmission electron microscope. Before using the TM, you need to suspend a carbon nanotube in the solvent using ultrasonic path for 10 to 15 minutes. After sonicating for about 15 minutes, then put one drop over the grid, carbon coated copper grid. Then insert that grid in the TM. So TM can give you the difference whether the carbon nanotube is single walled or multi walled, but not by simple TM. You have to use the high resolution transmission electron microscope to distinguish whether it is single walled or multi walled carbon nanotubes. But at least you will get tubes is hollow or longitudinal by using the transmission electron microscope. Graphene, again you can see the graphene, it will look like sheet in the transmission electron microscope. Edges, because always graphene will not be flat on the grid surface. Okay, somewhere the graphene will be like wrinkle in the wrinkles form. Okay, lifted up. Some edges will be lifted up. So you can make the judgment whether it is graphene or carbon nanotubes. So, but ultimately you have to make the judgment. You have to read so many papers, then you can make the judgment it is graphene or not graphene. But now the question is, graphene, is it graphene or it is fuel layer graphene, or it is, you can say, graphite nanoplatelets? Again, there is subdivision and lot of confusion is going on. Not confusion, wrong things are reported in the literature. Is it clear? When you say graphene, it is monoatomic thick layer. It is very difficult to synthesize. Whatever papers are published, those are on few layer graphenes, not on graphene. Next question, why hardness decreases after? Yes, it is very important. Why hardness decreases after attaining a peak? See, when you reduce the size from 100 micrometer to, you can say, 30 or 40 nanometer, so obviously grain size is reduced, number of grain boundaries are increased, or fractional area of grain boundaries increase. So mobility to the dislocation is restricted. So we are providing more and more obstacles to the mobility of the dislocation. Therefore, hardness is increased. But what happens below 30 nanometer? Why I am saying 30 to 40? Because it depends on the material to material. In some cases, it's 30 nanometer. In some cases, it's 40 nanometer. So below that, room temperature creep takes place. Your grain boundaries becomes weaker than the grains. So mobility of the grain boundaries becomes easier. So your grain, in the previous case, from micrometer to 30 nanometer, grain boundaries were restricting the mobility, restricting the dislocation mobility. But now grain boundaries becomes weaker, means they play the role of creep, deformation at room temperature. So they will not restrict the mobility of the dislocation. Therefore, hardness is reduced. That is the reason. Next, sorry, sir, why hardness, sir, not, I am not audible? Okay, in some cases. Next, very, okay, voice very low, sir. In some cases, my otherwise, volume of my voice is very high actually. Anyway, sir, only start screen saving, switch off your suggestion. Sir. Okay, Brajmon request. Now, why? Why buckyballs are called? See, just it looks like a soccer ball, okay? And you know that who has invented? So I will not go into that. I don't remember. The name is very back minister like that. Okay, so who has invented now? His name starts from Buck, I think. You know? Yeah, Bucky Minister, like that. You can see in the Google. Okay, how this name came. But this look of the carbon 60 buckyball was just like a soccer ball. Okay, therefore it is here. Why hardness increases with reduction? That both the things I have already covered. Yes, oh my dear. One participant is asking about the coordination number. See, coordination number is just to imagine you have FCC structure, na, crystal structure, unit cell. So, the coordination number means the number of nearest atoms which are surrounding a particular atom. Clear? In case of just you see BCC, body center cubic, one atom is in the center and then now 8 corners have. Okay. If you take one unit cell, you can say 8, but it is not 8 because there are many more atoms, because 4 atoms are also in the nearest unit cell. So that atom is also having 12. 8 plus 4, I think. No? So it is the number of nearest atoms. Therefore, I told you the surface atoms, because surface atoms do not have any material above them. Therefore, the highest coordination number for the surface atom is 9. Highest, maybe less, because some nearest atoms may be missing. I think it is clear. So now H corner atoms, they do not have any nearest unit cells. Obviously, their coordination number will be less.
So next question is explain again nanoparticles are more reactive with the view of coordination number.
See, why nanoparticles are more reactive? See, one calculation I did now. See, when you reduce the size from few micrometer to nanometer, what happens? Surface area is increased, number of surface atoms are increased. So just you think surface area is increased. Means what? Already surface energy is there. If you remember the formula of surface energy, the energy is equal to surface area into something. Okay. So whenever surface area is increased, so surface energy is increased, so already some energy is existing. So you need less energy in case of melting point, because surface energy already there. So, or second thing, coordination number for the surface atoms is less. So they need less energy to go from the crystalline state to amorphous stage.
So another question is there any side effects of using nanosols as it will be in contact with the skin for prolonged time?
See, in nanosocks, we are using only silver. Silver is not having any bad effect. But please remember, we are not taking it. We are just wearing. So, and quantity is very, very less. If you say, if you are using nano silver in the form of drugs, if you are taking inside the body, then after a certain level, that is not permitted. But for the outer side exterior use, no problem.
So another question is why smaller time duration is not suitable for milling technique?
See, I have not shown you. In afternoon, I will show you the graph. Okay. See, it is not like that. You increase the milling time, your particle size will decrease. For example, at 0 time, your particle size is 10 micrometer. After 1 hour, that 10 micrometer particle size will be reduced to 2 micrometer. Then maybe after 5 hours, you will get 100 nanometer. So 10 micrometer to 100 micrometer is not desirable to you. You want lesser than 100. So obviously, you need to mill your powder for more than 5 hours. So in some cases, in case of brittle material, you may get nano powder even in 1 hour or 2 hours. So ultimately it depends on the type of the material, whether you are milling metals or ceramics. Okay. So blindly, we cannot say 1 hour is sufficient or 2 hours is sufficient.
So another question is adding surfactants may lead to loss of properties of nanoparticles. What is the hand rule in such case?
What is the
hand rule?
See, आप real में you are practical person. Okay, this thing will not you will not find in the books textbook. But if you are really working for the structural application, you don't bother about the surfactant. But if you are working in the electronics, for the electronics devices, you need to bother about the surfactant, because surfactants are not advisable for the materials which are being used or which will be used for the electronic applications, because the dielectric property will be affected. So I am working on the electronic application, so I avoid to use the surfactant. But for the structural applications, we use silent coupling agent. So for the ferrofluid, it is advisable because there are no side effects. There are no bad thing in using the surfactant or coupling agent. Okay, so depending on your applications, you can use, you should not use. That application will decide.
So another is, what is method for nanospace synthesis?
What is
Method for nanospace synthesis.
nanospace?
Nanosphere. Nanosphere.
Synthesis, then you have to go for the synthesis methods. See, there are two approaches, top down, bottom up. In bottom up, you know, the chemical route is the best one. Okay, so you take the salt, mix in the solvent, add the reducing agent. Obviously, you need to control. Then there you need to add the surfactant. Otherwise, you can, if you do not control during the synthesis, your instead of nanometer, you will get micrometer powders. Okay. One is that chemical vapor deposition, you can evaporate the metals, okay, then atom by atom, obviously nucleation, growth, all these things are there. Top down approach mein aapka ball milling is very simple. Then there are other methods also. So that I have not covered in this case. Okay, see, it is not difficult. Synthesis of the spherical nanoparticle is very simple. Very simple.
So which method is best to obtain nanoparticles?
My dear, dekho, see, if you have the facilities, see, again, I am not just joking here, please remember, what facilities do you have? Do you need to depend on others? If yes, you try to synthesize the materials, whatever the facilities you have using them. Okay, for example, I can synthesize copper nano powder by using simple copper salt, dissolve in the solvent, add the reducing agent, you will get the nano powder. If you have the high-tech equipment, instrument, then no problem. You can control the parameters very nicely, you can use CVD, PVD, so many techniques are there. Okay, so separately you can discuss this question.
So next is, what is ferrofluid?
Dekho, what is ferrofluid? See, first you understand the nanofluid. Nanofluid, fluid means liquid. Most of the cases we take the water, kerosene, and then other solvent you can take. So if you take the water, if your purpose is only to dissipate the heat, okay. Suppose you have the hot water, you want to cool that water, so you want to dissipate the heat, no? So you take the water, now add the nanoparticles, any nanoparticles which have thermal conductivity better than the thermal conductivity of your solvent. So if you are adding any thermally conducting particles means nanoparticles. Now we are talking about the nanofluid. Okay, otherwise conventionally micrometer size particles are also added. So you add any nanoparticles which have high thermal conductivity into the liquid. So you can get it nanofluid. But if you are adding only the magnetic particles like iron oxide, chromium, nickel, only magnetic, so then it is called ferrofluid. Fluid, liquid, ferromagnetic particles you are taking, then obviously surfactant you need to add. Is it clear? So ferrofluid, all ferrofluids are nanofluid, but not all nanofluids are ferrofluid. That is the difference. So ferrofluid means you are adding ferromagnetic particles into the liquid. That is ferrofluid. And it is used in biomedical application. MRI, we don't use nanofluid, please remember. We use ferrofluid. Now size also very important here. In pigeon, I have not given much time in pigeon. Just you see the pigeon, magnetic rod is there. In that, the size of magnetic particles is around 30 to 35 nanometer. Bacteria, I have shown one bacteria that has RPM around about 10,000 revolutions per minute speed of that bacteria. That is because of the magnetic rod. In that magnetic rod, individual crystals of magnetic particles are there that has size of 30 to 40 nanometer. So everywhere you see the size is 30 to 40 meter means even in case of magnetic particles, when you reduce the size from micrometer to 30 nanometer, you will get the same trend what you see in the hardness. So when the size is 30 to 40, you have almost all the single domains. So maximum magnetization you will get. What it means the moment you switch off the light or magnetic field, immediately you will get zero magnetization. There is no losses of the magnetic field that is there. So you need such magnetic particles in case of MRI, in case of biomedical application. Therefore, in medicine, we use the 30 to 40 nanometer particles of the magnetic materials or ferrofluid.
Okay, sir. Next is small particles melt under high energy beams. Any solution?
Yes. See, again, I am telling you, it is not in ball milling. I don't think your particles will be melted, or you will not see. If it is melted, immediately there will be sintering. There will be sintering. You will get coarser particles instead of smaller size particles. But you can avoid it by using the wet milling. Means you take the liquid. Okay, so organic toluene you can take. The best solvent is toluene because water cannot be taken, otherwise your particles will be oxidized. So toluene you can take. So what will happen during milling? Whatever the heat is generated, that heat will be absorbed by the solvent. So your particle will be separated, suspended. They will not make the aggregates. So that advantage you can use of wet milling. Okay, so I have discussed about the dry milling. Surjit Ghosh is raising the hand.
So another question: what are the prerequisites in terms of nanoparticles properties for additive manufacturing, 3D printing of nanoparticles?
Please repeat the question.
What are the prerequisites in terms of nanoparticles properties for additive manufacturing, 3D printing of nanoparticles?
See, prerequisites for the additive manufacturing again, see, just you decide about the application. See, polymer is common in additive manufacturing. Nowadays, it is easy to do the additive manufacturing of polymers. Even you can do for the metals also, but depending on the applications, nanoparticles you can suspend in any matrix depending on your applications. Okay, so
Another question: can we stop the light scattering from the automobile glass by nanoparticles coating?
yes, of course, it is already being used. Advanced, if you see the vehicles, your scattering is less. You just coat the glasses, mirrors by nanoparticles, na? So you can minimize. You cannot avoid 100%. You can minimize. It is already being used.
So another question: any proposed mechanism to break particles into its crystallites, and how to calculate the energy of bonding between crystallites to form a particle?
You can break it by, again, the ball milling is simplest, but how will you calculate? You have to do some exercise. I cannot tell you about this, no? So
Another question: can you discuss some on William Hall plot?
I can discuss, but organizer, my young faculty members have given only 1.5 hours time. So you you have to attend the next program. We are planning for the characterization. Okay, so if you have query, you can send me email or you can do phone to me. Okay, so we can discuss.
So now we are going to close your query session, and thank you very much, Professor K. Goel, sir.
Thank you, thank you.
And next session will be start at 3 o'clock, and we are going shortly to post the attendance by sharing this chat box.
Thank you. बंद कर दो, क्लोज कर दो।
Yes, sir.
Okay. ठीक है, नहीं हो जाएगा, देखते हैं ना। 5 मिनट पहले आप कनेक्ट कर देना, इसको तो मैं ले कर आऊँ ना। नहीं, मैं घर से करूँगा यार। अभी बच्चे क्या होता है ना कि बच्चों ने दोनों कब्जा कर रखा है ना। ठीक है, आप वजह से सही थी। देखा? दादा ये तो नहीं था, पास है सर, उसमें पास हिसाब हो पास, लेकिन जो उसमें आ रहा है उसमें हो रहा है। आवाज सही थी? हाँ, आवाज सही थी। वो मैं इसलिए तो मैं बंद कर दिया।
Okay, we are closing the attendance link. Thank you everyone for attending. Our next session will start at 3 p.m. sharp. And please don't post, one of the participant has posted the attendance link in the group. So please don't do that. There were many questions, all we couldn't take. Sorry for that due to time constraint. Obviously, you can contact Professor R.K. Goyal sir over his mail, which is on MNIT Jaipur's website.